All right. So we're back here on Couch Coach Live. Welcome to the 2-hour ride against Couch Coach Live. Man, we got a great show lined up for you tonight. We're here, of course, Friday nights under the den here at Legacy Internet Radio, legacyinternetradio.com, where independence is the key to building your legacy. And once again, hey man, so without further ado, man, let's get this show started, man. Let's get with our starting lineup, man. Hey man, let's introduce yourself, man.
Hey, what's up? This is Sean Love, aka Maui.
Yes.
I'm here on Couch Coach Live, the opportunist, my brother, my son. You know what I mean? Loyal Scorpio.
Yeah, man.
So, quick question before we jump in, man. How did you feel on New Balance, man? You got to show a different side to you.
Man, that's kind of cool, man. It was kind
You seem
of
comfortable. You seem happy that you can tell your story.
I was relaxed, and I was, when you were telling me you interviewed me, I was like, I was gonna be a little nervous, but no, I think what it was is just everything flowed.
Yeah,
everything just flowed, and it was like I was so scared, like maybe I was gonna stutter or maybe mutter a word.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everything just went completely smooth, and it was very easy to talk about the and to remember those details so vividly is something that, like you said, I'm being introduced to this new phenomenon, as far as how things work and how the universe works.
I was watching this thing, and there was this character called Nubius that the Egyptians was following. I ain't gonna go into detail with it, but when you pass away, he will walk you to the ascending bodies, and what you have to do is you have to offer something on a scale, and it has to your heart has to be heavier than a feather or lighter than a feather, and if it's not, then it's an issue. But you can move on, like going to the new world, going to heaven. So for me, somebody told me that I reminded him of that type of person. So I just wanted to guide people because your story is extraordinary. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm sure you wanted to play basketball, I'm sure you wanted to do that, but you still found your way to still represent yourself in sports because he loves sports. He gives very, very good detail because you're definitely right. The Vikings is going to win that division. I'm going to tell you that. They look good. So I guess we go ahead.
I told you. Of course, we got a great show lined up for you tonight. And I guess without further ado, let's just get it out of the way. The elephant in the room. Let's do that first with this Jemele Hill versus versus the P.O.T.U.S situation. Now, and this is we'll set this up. And here on Couch Coach Live, we do want to have these type of stories, and the reason, and this is a reason why we're doing this, is because it's a sports figure on a major network as Jemele Hill. If it was someone else outside of this world, this wouldn't be a story. But with the fact of Jemele Hill being the center of this and probably one of the most top talent in ESPN, which ESPN is the number one provider of sports, pretty much for the most, for the general consensus. They're the mothership of all sports. Now, of course, she did some tweets on Monday, and pretty much it was a series of tweets. And the gist of it, to give you the Cliff Notes version of it, and more so to stay away from the political minutiae, is and pretty much she said in those series of tweets, she surmised that pretty much that Donald Trump was a white supremacist. Yeah. And of course, there's a lot of outrage, and of course, there's a lot of people who have been saying that she needs to be fired and all this, that, and the third, and calling per se, like that ESPN is hypocrites for not getting rid of her in the same token that they did with other acts but more so of talent like Rush Limbaugh or the Kurt Schillings of the world. So of course, a lot of people look at it from that type of standpoint, which I mean, I get it, and I understand where people are coming from, and I want to hear your take about just this whole situation, just as far as just your thoughts on the tweets and just the thoughts of her. Should she be fired?
When we spoke on Saturday, we spoke about social media. You know, I know social media was born before 04 or 05, but the platforms really wasn't there. So, you know, starting with MySpace, Facebook, then Instagram, and on and on and on. And we didn't really know what it was. You know, it could be extremely dangerous, but it is a place where when somebody you don't, you know, when you're on the internet, you can touch people that, like a lonely person that don't know how to express themselves, can't express themselves through the internet. You know, it used to be AOL and all this different. And they would live through people, and they help lonely people or people who couldn't express themselves. People who had a certain type of personality but wasn't judged on how they look or how they talk. You know, it gave them confidence. Yeah. Now things are so fast. When it comes to Twitter can be used as a platform where you can say what you want and then people give a dialogue. You understand what I'm saying? With her, I know I work with people and I have friends that love Donald Trump. You know what I mean? Yeah. She does have a job. She has a place she has a job, but you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean that ESPN actually is on what she was on. You know what I mean? True. And she needs to clarify what she did. ESPN has nothing to do with it. That's why she did it on her Twitter account. Right. You know what I mean? Right. And just how she felt. You know, I don't think she should be punished. She could be suspended now. You know what I mean? I don't have a problem with that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because you still, you know, you have to be very conscious of the things you say when you're on a platform like that. Yeah. You know what I mean? There's ways you can say things too without being so blunt.
It's true.
You understand what I'm saying?
I do.
But it takes from what America really means to, and that goes both ways. And it really is like you can't have one way without having another. If a person feels this way and you may disagree with it and may be harsh, should they be punished for it? Even though you don't agree with it? Right. You know what I mean? And they could be of a different race than you too. Right. You understand what I'm saying? And then it goes the same way for a black person or anybody else. You know what I mean? Yeah. That people some way already got something to say. If that makes sense to you, you know what I mean? Like, you gotta be conscious of what you're saying. If you want to say something, you gotta understand the backlash that's going to come.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
And I'm on the fence too about it in a sense, but I do give Jemele Hill credit. I mean, to be honest with you, for her to have that type of platform that she's in and to say something like that, because I think even saying that, she knows, I think, in the back of her mind, like, look, this can go either way. So I'm just going to live my truth and live the way I want to, express the way I want to feel because it's unfortunate, the nature that we live in, like you said, the whole thing with social media, where people aren't able to, more so they can't decipher what the difference between you being on a show compared to being at the comfort of your home. She might have been at home sitting on her couch saying that, or anywhere outside of the confines of her job.
Yeah. So there's a lot of radio guys, media guys that has gotten famous by saying outlandish things, right? And even them, like I said, Howard Stern. Wendy Williams, you know what I mean? And, they get mature, they got to realize they have to be careful with some of the things that they do. And they'll tell you that, you know what I mean? So just like Charlamagne the God, you know what I mean? He's known for it, but if you pay attention to the content is getting a lot different. It's getting different on that show now, where he's getting certain type of people on it. He's even being smarter with his questions, because a couple times, people won't put their hands on him. And eventually somebody did put their hands on him. You know what I mean? So, it's a gift and a curse when it comes to everything that you do. It has to be balanced. But I think, man, like for us, we're getting in this. business, and it is a learning experience, and it may get to a point that, because I believe all of them that's famous had to deal with it, and we get to see it forefront. Like her and Michael Smith is at a place where they're actually ESPN is trying to transition and put them. I think they're trying to take over a certain place.
They pretty much put them in. They're like I would call it the curve of ESPN where they want to be at.
Yeah.
Where they want to be more cutting edge, more younger, more hipper.
Yeah.
And more entertaining, because especially in their time frame they're in at 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
Because with them, what's basically interesting about how that's centered, they have to have that type of entertainment, because at that point you already know what's going on, because we live in such a 24-hour news cycle. You know what's going on, but they're gonna provide content that is entertaining and their take compared to what they've done in the past.
And to be honest with you, I think it's because I haven't watched it. You know what I mean? And I was kind of looking like, why is it that those two are there? Because to me, they was always like, man, where is Stephen A? You know what I mean? When they used to be on First Take. But I think this is publicity for them.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And I think, and it will be, and it just depends on what's going on. And my thing, I'm always not a fan, especially when it comes to like media, and especially like with the situation, like we even talked about how with her being a journalist, how people want to shut her up. But it's almost like her being a journalist, it's almost like her job to say stuff like this in this nature.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, she's done it from the other. She's done it from the other end.
From the other end.
It's a few people that sports that she's done. I'm like, why she? Like I was telling you, I said, why she doing stuff? She remind me of Skip, because Skip plays that position where he's got to speak like this and talk like this. You know what I mean? So. I will say this. It was kind of cool. And, I was seeing some comedians talk about, real comedians that talk about it. When some Caucasian or white comedians had said some things, they was sticking up for those comedians. You know what I mean? So for me, it's cool to see journalists actually stick up for them. Because, once you constantly keep, because the difference between her and Kirsten, honestly, Kirsten is just a sports guy that they put on the show.
Right.
She's a journalist. Like she is a journalist before anything. You know what I mean? And if you shut a person up that is really their main thing is to be like she uses her expression as art in some type of way, and you shut that down, it's going to really mess a lot of things up.
Yeah, compared to a guy like you said, like a guy like Kurt Schilling, who is just there pretty much for the analytical type of scenario, where he's going to show you and tell you how things in baseball are played, like as far as just the general, he'll give you the outline of what to see in the baseball game, compared to a person like a Jemele Hill, who in essence she that's her bread and butter with journalism, and she has it's risen into this new platform, and people expect her to in other words get away from that, which. How can she get away from it? And that's her bread and butter. That's what got her to where she's at.
Yeah, so you should be even when she's on ESPN, you should be looking at her Twitter account just to see what she's gonna say anyway.
Right, because she's gonna give you that every time, and that's the thing. And the thing about it, it's been consistent. And like I even was telling you the other day, I was listening to actually it was she's on a podcast. This is probably right before the 6th debut, because the 6th debut in February, right after the Super Bowl, and they were on a podcast called Comeback Jack Show. And I remember her talking, but she didn't say it in that type of contexture. But she said stuff then that was kind of consistent of the tweets that she did at September. So to me, well, not September, what happened on Monday? Pardon me.
I don't even know, like, even though she put that out there, I don't know. They talk like that. Majority of the people on the UI, the people I've seen people who say they love Trump. I haven't seen them on TV unless it's like Fox or something like that.
And that's what speaks to the power of POTUS. You have people. There's no happy medium with him. There's either people on one side versus the other side. So that's what makes this such a conflicting issue, because with ESPN, it sucks with them because they're kind of they in my personal opinion, they could have said, hey, this is, Jemele Hill is just, she's somebody, she's an employee here, and this is her way of her expressing compared to what they said, because they kind of doubled down, which that made me think to myself, like, you're gonna hurt yourself because they said that, we don't share the same views as Jemele Hill. And I'm thinking to myself, so when we are in this 50-50 gap, and I'm not, it may be more, it may be, one side versus the other, but what you're doing is you're taking one side and alienating the other.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's the thing that's going to hurt ESPN going forward. Mm-hmm. Because when you have these type of issues, you kind of, I'm not trying to say like you have to take a stance or whatever, but you kind of need to separate yourself from the actual thing. Because at the end of the day, this is like if we do something and I tweet or anybody here with Lexi in their radio, and that doesn't mean that Marcus J has endorsed everything that we say.
Yeah.
And he would probably, and I don't know how he would react if something was like to that extent. But I guarantee you, it'll be more so that's on his response. That's him or her. That's their. In other words, that's their saying. That doesn't equate to what we think or how we think.
Right. But like I told you, it was something outlandish, and we constantly keep repping Lex and the radio, and we got a shirt on and all that.
Yeah.
And if it's something that really can, even if he's standing, can truly hurt the brand in some type of way, he's going to back us because that's Marcus J. Yeah. But at the same time, we're going to have a conversation.
So we're going to have a conversation. And that was so much what ESPN has done to their previous talent.
Because ESPN has been dealing with a lot lately.
And then
extremely.
And then with them, you have to really realize with them, they're controlled by Disney. When you look at just the grand scheme of things, you think ESPN, they're back behind Disney. So of course, you have to pretty much be in a PC bubble for them because of their parent company. So it's a whole lot different. And I think with ESPN, like I was saying a little earlier, they just should have went ahead and said, hey, this is, we understand Jemele Hill's comments. We, this, that, and the third. And we're not, this is her individual, her individual statement on her personal social media platform. And her views not necessarily reflects the views of what, what this company has. So you have to toe that line because.
No, you good. I just think that, how you used to get the VCR joints and VCR tapes and had the FBI one. I think they should, every platform like that should start doing that because of social media. Yeah. To protect themselves. And it's okay. Like, it's okay. Like, I think they should go ahead and put that out there.
And it's so funny because it reminds me of like those infomercials that you'll see like on the network stations. Yeah. Like, on dead time, and they say, this doesn't reflect the views. Yeah. This, that, and third of this, of this actual station. And I think that's what they should do, hindsight going forward. But I mean, it's not the crime of the century.
No, it's not.
And it's fine. I mean, it's one of those things where it's just like, we just know at the end of the day.
It's just another thing for them to throw out so they can go ahead and say, well, this happened with Kirsten, and this happened, she said this. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, look, there's a lot of other things going on. Yeah. And this is sports figures, a lot of stuff,
a lot of stuff going on.
And a lot of people hurting in Florida and Houston. A lot of other stuff going on that's more important. But it's still a conversation that is important where I think these brands and people that's having people have these certain individuals that's working for them, that's in the media, that has personality, has feelings, that have health issues and all that. They protect themselves. You know what I mean? They want to have to deal with these issues.
Yeah. So definitely, get the king in the same way. So we just talked about Houston. Man, let's get into this Texans and Bengals matchup last night.
Look, man, what's my DJ skills?
Man, I know, man. You're the king of the segue, man. We gotta keep you there. So of course, last night I say, in my personal opinion, probably one of the most boringest games. Of course.
And why is that? Because the Redskins wasn't playing?
No, because the score was 13-9. There was only one touchdown.
I mean, that's what happens in the AFC. We hits people. We get physical.
Sure. The Bengals scored 9 points.
They terrible.
And I mean, it's just, the Bengals, it just amazed me of how terrible they are.
Let your coach go.
I'm telling you, they're not gonna let Marvin Lewis go, because Marvin Lewis, to be honest with you, they're not the Bengals are so cheap. They are not gonna pay for another coach. I just know that for a fact. Like they're not gonna put another coach in the books for them, and they're just a cheap franchise.
Well, I blame the Bengals fans.
I wouldn't say all that.
Well, let me tell you why. I mean, they gotta say something. I mean, like my buddy Mike, saying Clark, who's actually in Florida, and they're doing well. And he talked to you one time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I said, man, it's really time for you to let your coach go. And he said he's ready for Dalton to go. Also, I feel sorry for those players that's on that team that it's like, I'm going to go here, they're going to build the offense around them, they're going to build the defense around them, and they still there. Yeah. You know what I mean? And they numbers, like Green is a beast. When he caught that pass, I was like,
yeah, but that was the only highlight for the Bengals when you look at him offensively. And I mean, I look at even with the Texans. I'm really not sold on Deshaun Watson so far. I mean,
he better than Kirk Cousins.
Stop it. What you better know Kirk Cousins? How?
I see
I'm telling you, I'm gonna
potential.
put it that way. I see potential, but I mean, and it's hard for me to say this with his first start. I'm not convinced that.
Yes, Kenji, I say Kirk Cousins. It's just.
But like I said, Kirk Cousins would at least score a touchdown. He scored at least a touchdown.
He did score a touchdown.
Yeah, a rushing touchdown.
It's something that Kirk Cousins can't do.
Of course, he bet not. If he can rush a touchdown like that.
Me and my father had a discussion about the NFL, and every time they get a college guy, when you're a college guy, even in high school, you got to be able to scramble a little bit and throw on the run, right? Okay. So why is it that, and this is my question to you, why is it that you have a guy that's his strength at this time? Yeah. Why is it that you can't draw up an offense, right?
Yeah.
To deal with, to cope with a quarterback coming out of college strengths? Yeah. Because I believe in 3 years, his pocket confidence should be there.
I think it's ego, because like you said, because it all can be simple.
I'm sorry, I did not think you were going to go there. Coach, I swear, sometimes
it's ego when it comes to coaches, because to me, when you think about it, if I'm this, I'm just going to say it like this. If I'm an offensive coordinator and I've been in the league, and I'm going to be real, and I'm not trying to cast no stones, but there could be an offensive coordinator that have coached the best quarterbacks in the game, and they're not, they're going to be like, well, what's going to happen is this kid's going to have to acclimate to my system, and I'm not going to, he's going to acclimate to my system. I'm not going to, find something. I'm going to find stuff for him, but he still needs to adapt in his offense, and that's going to be the biggest issue. So, and that's my thing with that going forward. And to me, even last night was like telling, and it was like the Texans are in trouble. I think I'm gonna put it this way: the Texans are in trouble, but the Bengals are in double in trouble.
That's great,
because the Bengals look terrible.
Okay, now the Texans, I didn't see that. I think they have a lot of injuries from what I'm hearing.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But their defense seemed fast. The linemen look decent to me. You know what I mean? And it was just, to me, if Watson at first seemed very timid. Yeah. Did you see that sack when dude about ran over him?
Oh, yeah, no doubt. I would too.
But there were a lot of it, my dad was like, they keep brainwashing him to stay in the pocket. Yeah. And I was like, and to me, I was like, man, for a fact they got to have a setup. Because I seen a running back run, when they was coming, it's like, you got to know that running back is going to be right there, just throw it to him. But you gotta be composed. You gotta be in that quick of it. So what we're gonna do to take a brief time out. We come back, we'll do our NCAA 4 downs. We'll be right back. This is Couch Coach Live. We'll take my time. Oh.